Hello, everybody. Fantastic this week. Really impressed yet again. The real mixed bag of stuff as well. So I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can because there was rather a lot of stuff there. I had one from one of my lady correspondents there talking about whistleblowing. That was very interesting. I was very interested to see what you had to say there. Um, Again, loud and clear. The the disquiet about going out on a limb. That was the thing about going out on a limb. That came across pretty intensely again. And there's just something I want you to think about here. There was a considerable regard paid to the policy in your replies and you'd gone back and you'd read the policy again, which is just fantastic. Couldn't ask for better. And I think you have to admit that these days the landscape for whistleblowers is a bit more sympathetic than it used to be. Although that's how it appears. Whistleblowers theoretically aren't hounded the way that they used to be. But this business about going through the procedures and going through the processes. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you ever used to watch Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister. If they wanted to bury something, if there was a bit of bad news that came in and they wanted to really kind of squash it, what they would do would be they'd set up an inquiry. If you set up an inquiry, nothing happens for a couple of years. The heat goes out of the argument entirely. And what might have been on the front page of the newspapers now, in 2 years' time when the report comes out, everyone's moved on, everyone's moved jobs, never mind moved on. And sometimes it does occur to me to wonder whether the so-called friendliness with whistleblowing and the oh yeah, we don't mind you whistleblowing as long as you stick to procedures isn't a way of smothering the whole thing. I mean, the point about a whistle, presumably, yeah. And the reason why it's called whistleblowing is that when you blow a whistle, it startles everyone. Everyone just stops in their tracks. Now, if you've gone through the policy revision subcommittee, then that's not going to have quite the same effect. Well, it won't have that much effect on people's attention, but of course that's not the real issue, is it? The real issue is, will it get more effect on the problem? And that's a whole other matter. And I love the way that you put at the bottom there that the public are shareholders in the National Health Service, and therefore the public have a right to know. Yeah, okay, that's a great point, fantastic point. But then I note that from your tone that you're on the side. You situate yourself on the side of the person who's doing the whistleblowing. But of course, a lot of that lesson was to do with what if you're on the wrong end of a whistleblowing charge? What if it's someone you work with pointing the finger at you? That's a whole other matter. And I've listened to some of the real life stories that you people have been telling me, and it is at least possible that somebody leaves the service and points at things which are going on in the service, perfectly justifiable things, and give them a distasteful connotation, if you know what I mean. It wouldn't be that difficult to do. Okay, stuff still coming in about honesty and truth telling. I noticed that when I asked, tell me in confidence that stuff that you might not have felt entirely happy about. Well, one correspondent wrote in and said that somebody's clearly had an MI. It's on the ECG, but he tells her that he is going to treat her in line with protocols. I don't know what's going on yet, but I'll treat you in line with protocols. Well, strictly speaking, that's not really a lie, is it? I mean, there's been no intent to deceive there. You just haven't revealed everything that you know. That's not like deliberately saying something which you know is untrue. That's what occurred to me there. And I like the point, same correspondent, I like the point that you made, that this whole experience of having this patient made you evaluate the worth of honesty and what honesty actually means. Coming back to another correspondent, what he said is that he went along and someone had taken too many tablets, and now the family are all panicking, what's this going to do? Is this going to have a fatal outcome? And he said that he was unsure about he said that he was unsure about how the medication worked and what damage it might do. Well, this was a lie, wasn't it? Because really, you were sure. You knew exactly what it was entitled, what it was likely to do. Therefore, you did intend to deceive. But I'm not sure that the two cases are that much different in reality. And if you start out from evaluating harms, then perhaps in those circumstances that you both described, the value of truth-telling can be exaggerated, maybe. Now, there is one point that my third correspondent made, and that's to do with act and rule utilitarianism. Yeah, I think you're a little bit confused here. Act utilitarianism means that you assess every act as to whether it is going to produce the greatest possible benefit. What rule utilitarianism says is you don't have to assess each and every act. But what we've done in the past as a society is we've worked out that, generally speaking, not stealing brings more happiness, or not lying brings more happiness. Therefore, in any individual case, you don't have to do the calculation all over again. You just know that, in general, society works better for everyone if no lying or stealing takes place. Act utilitarianism, you're working things out from scratch with each action that you do. Rule utilitarianism takes the weight off you rather, but then again that opens the possibility that this particular action might not produce the best benefit for the majority of people. Now, one thing that I am really curious about, and I've got a couple of minutes here just to point out to you, is when we're talking about honesty and truth-telling, I can't believe how many times you people leaned upon what you think is the public's underestimation of your skill. You've thought that the general public think you can't read an ECG, and you've hid behind that sort of ignorance in order to avoid disclosing what you know to be the case. You've relied on the general public thinking you don't know enough about pharmacology so that you can evade. Now that's an interesting one, isn't it? That's an interesting one. Normally people wish to emphasise what it is that they know, even to exaggerate what it is that they know. And yet, in a number of cases with correspondents that are replying to the things about honesty and truth-telling, you've used the general public's underestimation of you as a shield. Very inventive, very interesting that you should do that. But as a theme, this is coming up again and again and again in the correspondence that I'm reading. Very curious indeed. Have I gone through everything? Well done, everyone. Next week I'm going to be meeting you again, aren't I? That'll be interesting. That will be very interesting. And I'm planning to do another recording tomorrow, so another lesson will be ready. And I've got a very good idea for another one on moral theory, but that might take a little time to come to fruition. But it could be very entertaining if it comes off. So well done, everybody. Very stimulating as usual. Pleased to see everybody who's corresponded. Those who haven't, get cracking. If I don't see you before, I'll see you next week face to face.